Hey, welcome to a new Tuts Plus quick tip. I'm Adi, and in today's video, you'll learn how to make elements resizable with CSS. Up until recently, I didn't know that was possible. I thought only text areas can have that, handle in the corner so you can drag to whatever size you want. Well, it turns out you can do that to pretty much any block level element by using a CSS property called Resize. Imagine that. So let me show you what you can do with it after a quick message about Envato Elements. With one subscription, you'll have unlimited access to WordPress themes and plugins, web and email templates, UI kits, and more. There are millions of digital assets to choose from. They have simple commercial licensing, and you can cancel anytime. Subscribe now using the link in the video description. All right, now let's see how to make elements resizable with CSS. All you have to do for that is use the Resize property. Now, if we look at the definition from MDN, we can see that it supports 4 properties. Both allows the element to be resized in both directions, both horizontal and vertical, but you can go either just horizontal or just vertical. And of course, by default, this is set to none. Now, one very important thing to note here is that resize does not apply to inline elements or block elements for which the overflow property is set to visible. So we need to set the overflow property to a value that's different than visible. So let me show you a quick demo here. I'm going to create a div called container, and let's just quickly go and style this. And let's set a width and a height and maybe some padding, something like that. So we basically have a box, right? Now, if I want to resize this, I can say resize and use one of the properties that I showed you previously. So horizontal, vertical, or both. I'm going to select both. And we're going to set the overflow to, let's say, auto. And just like that, we now have a small handle right here in the corner that allows us to resize the element to whatever size we want. Now, notice we have a little stopping point here. That's because we actually set a width and a height. And that's a good way to set up like a min width, a min height, even though you can use those properties as well. But when working with something like this, you might also want to set like a max width or a max height. And you can easily do that using the correct properties. So max width, let's set this to 20 rems. Max height, let's set it to 15 rems. And you'll see that we now have certain boundaries for resizing this element. Now, you might also use this property to maybe remove the resizable attribute or the resizing capabilities from a certain element, like for example, in text areas. So if I have a text area here, these have this resizing capability enabled by default. Well, if you want to get rid of that, you would just target the text area and you would say resize none. So now you'll have a fixed width text area. This is great to use in cases where you don't want to allow users to resize a particular element and potentially breaking your layout. You can also have resizable elements within resizable elements. So for example, if we were to create, let's say, a div with a class of resize and inside a paragraph with a class of resize, and let's say that we're defining this class like so, okay, and let's add a border and maybe a padding, right? You'll now have one resizable element. This is the outer div, but you also have this one, right? This is the paragraph inside. And in this situation, probably we need to set the overflow to scroll so we can actually see, the contents of this outer element. In terms of browser support, the CSS Resize property, as you can see, is properly supported in all major browsers, except for older versions of Edge, Internet Explorer doesn't support it, Mobile Safari and Opera Mini. So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to use this today if you ever need this kind of behavior on your HTML elements. And that's it, folks. A quick and easy way of resizing elements with CSS. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Adi, and until next time, take care.